This research paper, titled, Out of Sight Out of Mind, Measuring Bias in Language Models Against Overlooked Marginalized Groups in Regional Contexts, is authored by Fatma El-Safori from the Weizenbaum Institute and Fraunhofer Focus Institute in Germany, and David Hartmann from the Technical University of Berlin and the Weizenbaum Institute. The paper addresses a critical issue in artificial intelligence and natural language processing: the biases embedded in language models that unfairly target marginalized groups, particularly those that have been largely ignored in previous studies. Language models, or LMs, are AI systems trained on vast amounts of text data to understand and generate human language. However, these models often absorb and perpetuate societal biases and stereotypes from their training data. Most research on this topic has focused on the United States and the broader English-speaking world, leaving out many underrepresented groups and languages. This is a significant problem because biases in LMs can lead to real-world harms, such as discriminatory decisions in hiring, content moderation, or even everyday interactions. The authors point out that marginalized groups vary by country and region, shaped by unique historical, social, and cultural contexts. According to the United Nations, marginalized groups include people with disabilities, youth, women, the LGBTQIA+ community, indigenous peoples, internally displaced persons, and non-nationals like refugees and migrant workers. Despite this global diversity, existing studies on bias in NLP, fields like word embeddings, masked language modeling, and generative AI, have predominantly centered on perspectives from the global north, overlooking the experiences of billions in the global south or majority. To address this gap, the paper presents the first comprehensive study examining offensive stereotyping bias in 23 different language models. They focus on 270 marginalized groups across several regions: Egypt, the other 21 Arab countries, Germany, the United Kingdom, and the United States. This approach allows them to explore biases in both high-resource languages like English and German, and low-resource ones like various Arabic dialects. One key aspect of their work is investigating how low-resource languages and dialects affect bias measurements. For instance, they compare the Egyptian Arabic dialect, which is spoken by millions but underrepresented in AI training data, to modern Standard Arabic, which is more formalized and commonly used in media. Their findings reveal that bias metrics show significantly higher levels of bias when using the Egyptian Arabic dialect, highlighting the limitations of current tools that often rely on dominant language forms. The results of the study are eye-opening. Overall, the language models demonstrate higher bias against many marginalized groups compared to dominant groups, particularly in areas related to religion, ethnicity, and gender. However, this pattern doesn't hold uniformly. For Arabic language models, bias is elevated against both marginalized and dominant groups, suggesting that cultural and linguistic nuances play a major role in how biases manifest. Additionally, the paper delves into intersectional bias, which occurs when multiple marginalized identities overlap and amplify discrimination. They found notably higher levels of bias against groups like non-binary individuals, the broader LGBTQIA+ community, and Black women. This underscores how LMs can exacerbate harms for people at the intersections of race, gender, and sexuality. The authors emphasize that developing inclusive language models requires a broader understanding that incorporates overlooked groups and low-resource languages. They note that the United Nations estimates 600 million to 1.2 billion people worldwide belong to marginalized groups needing special protection. By expanding bias research to these contexts, we can work toward AI systems that are truly equitable and beneficial for everyone. A harm alert in the paper mentions that some examples used in the study include profanity, which could be harmful or triggering to readers or listeners. This is an important reminder of the sensitive nature of bias research and the need for careful handling of such content. In terms of methodology, the study builds on existing techniques for measuring bias, such as analyzing how LMs associate certain words or phrases with specific groups. They adapted these methods to account for regional contexts, ensuring that the evaluation captures stereotypes relevant to the areas studied. For example, they examined how models respond to prompts involving Egyptian or Arab-specific marginalized groups, revealing disparities that might not be evident in English-centric analyses. The implications of this research are far-reaching. As industry and academia continue to develop methods to reduce bias in LMs, it's crucial to include diverse perspectives and languages. Otherwise, efforts to create fair AI could inadvertently exclude large portions of the global population. The paper also calls attention to the need for better datasets and metrics that handle low-resource languages, as current approaches often fail to detect biases in dialects like Egyptian Arabic. Finally, the paper is formatted according to ACM guidelines, with the full reference, Fatma El-Safori and David Hartman, 2025. Out of Sight, Out of Mind. Measuring Bias in Language Models Against Overlooked Marginalized Groups in Regional Contexts. In Proceedings of the Correct Conference Title as per Rights Confirmation. ACM, New York, USA, 24 pages. You can find more details via the DOI. https://doi.org/xxxxxxxx.xxxxxxxx. This work serves as a vital step toward more inclusive AI, urging the field to look beyond dominant narratives and address the out of sight, out of mind problem in bias mitigation.